Under the dazzling lights of Hollywood, some actors become legends for their talent, charisma, and iconic roles. But others, well, they've left a legacy for reasons far more sinister. On screen, they might play the hero, the villain, or something in between, but off-screen, their stories are the kind that would make even the most dramatic soap opera blush. For every star shining in Hollywood's Hall of Fame, there's a darker tale. And today, we'll delve into the lives of 15 actors whose real-world actions have cast shadows far darker than any role they've played. These are the stories that prove sometimes the most chilling performances aren't confined to the big screen. Number 15. Faye Dunaway. Underneath her iconic status, Faye Dunaway's career has been shadowed by a trail of shocking behavior that's kept Hollywood talking for decades. Most recently, the 78-year-old actress was fired from Tea at 5, accused of physical assault, erratic tantrums, and absurd demands. But this isn't new territory for Dunaway. During the filming of Mommy Dearest in 1981, co-star Rutanya Alda claimed she was slapped hard by Dunaway during a scene, completely abandoning stage protocol. In another incident, Broadway wig designer Paul Huntley shared that during a 1996 tour of Masterclass, Dunaway angrily slapped his assistant over hairpins. The Chinatown set reportedly saw her refuse bathroom breaks, urinate in trash cans, and even throw urine at Roman Polanski, a claim she's denied as ridiculous. James Woods and Bette Davis have both labeled her as notoriously difficult, with tales of lateness, shouting fits, and a refusal to cooperate. Dunaway's legendary status seems forever tied to her infamous antics. Number 14. Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was a comedic icon, but his private life told a far darker story. Celebrated for his slapstick humor and groundbreaking partnership with Dean Martin, he inspired generations of comedians. However, behind the laughter was a man plagued by personal demons, from struggles with addiction to a suicide attempt. His relationship with his precious son Joseph was particularly fraught, with allegations of emotional and physical abuse that led to an eventual estrangement. Joseph's tragic death from an overdose in 2009 only deepened the shadow over Lewis's legacy. In a rare admission, Lewis expressed guilt, saying, "I've beaten myself up 1,000 times." Despite these challenges, Lewis's influence on comedy and his tireless charity work for the MDA are undeniable. He was a complex figure, capable of immense kindness and cruelty, whose legacy is as layered as the performances that made him a household name. Number 13. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor's glamorous life was no stranger to scandal, but her affair with Eddie Fisher in the late 1950s remains one of Hollywood's most dramatic chapters. After the tragic death of her third husband, Mike Todd, Taylor sought comfort in Fisher, who happened to be her friend Debbie Reynolds' husband. The betrayal shocked the public and shattered friendships, turning Fisher into Hollywood's villain overnight. Fisher lost contracts and credibility, with his career quickly unraveling. Even his son, Todd Fisher, admitted, "It ruined his career." While Taylor and Fisher married, their union lasted just 5 years. Cracks appeared early when Taylor starred in Cleopatra opposite Richard Burton, igniting yet another highly publicized affair. Reynolds, showing remarkable poise, later said, "I warned Eddie she'd kick him out after a year and a half, and she did." Despite the chaos, Taylor and Reynolds eventually reconciled, proving that even in the midst of the scandal, time can mend what fame and betrayal once tore apart. Number 12. Bette Davis. Bette Davis was known for her iconic roles and fierce personality that made her both revered and feared. Her drive for perfection stemmed from a challenging relationship with her father, Harlow, who once told her while gazing at the stars, "You're insignificant, like all of this." That harsh lesson shaped her relentless ambition to prove her worth. Davis's infamous feud with Joan Crawford reached legendary status, with the two clashing bitterly during the filming of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Davis described Crawford as a vain, vodka-swilling politician, and their on-set battles were as dramatic as the movie itself. Despite the chaos, Davis left an indelible mark on Hollywood, challenging conventions with her bold performances and outspoken nature. Her famous declaration, "I will not retire while I've still got my legs and my makeup box," sums up her unwavering commitment to her craft and her refusal to fade quietly into the background. Number 11. James Dean. James Dean embodied rebellion on screen, but off-screen his behavior was far from charming. Known for roles in Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden, Dean quickly gained fame, but those who worked with him saw a distinct side. Co-stars defined him as moody, uncooperative, and often rude. On Broadway, Dean's improvisational antics disrupted productions, earning him a reputation for being difficult. Even Rock Hudson, who worked alongside him in Giant, found Dean unpleasant, saying he never smiled and had no manners. These stories painted a picture of a man whose talent was as intense as his personality. Dean's death at 24 in a car crash immortalized him as a cultural icon, cementing his status as the ultimate symbol of youthful rebellion. While his legend continues to captivate audiences, accounts of his real-life behavior reveal a complex individual who was as troubled as he was talented. Now let's move to number 10. John Wayne. John Wayne may have been Hollywood's quintessential cowboy, but behind the rugged exterior was a man whose fiery opinions often alienated his peers. His staunch conservative beliefs made him a polarizing figure, but it was his sharp tongue that truly left scars. Take his infamous feud with Clark Gable, for example, a clash that became the stuff of Hollywood legend. Gable, known for his charm, found himself the target of Wayne's biting criticism. "He's only smart enough to act," Wayne reportedly sneered. Their mutual animosity peaked during the filming of John Ford's Mogambo, where tensions boiled over thanks to Ford's relentless mocking of Gable and co-star Ava Gardner. Gable, unable to endure the toxic atmosphere, stormed off set, severing ties with Ford for good. Wayne, ever loyal to Ford, took every opportunity to mock Gable publicly. For all his charisma on screen, Wayne's off-screen persona was as divisive as the controversies he courted. Number 9. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was a cultural phenomenon with a voice that could melt hearts and land him in hot water. By 1938, before he became Old Blue Eyes, Sinatra had already made headlines with a seduction charge that briefly landed him in jail. It wasn't exactly the type of crime people crooned about. Sinatra's charm, however, often turned trouble into legend. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover found him so fascinating, or suspicious, that he compiled a 300-page file. One ridiculous claim suggested his screaming fans could lead to mass hysteria akin to creating a dictator. Hoover, in full paranoia mode, thought Sinatra might accidentally spark another Hitler. Despite his legal and moral escapades, Sinatra remained untouchable. His life was a blend of unparalleled talent, questionable choices, and FBI-level intrigue. He sang about doing it his way, and boy, did he ever, leaving both admirers and critics shaking their heads. Number 8. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney, the pint-sized powerhouse of Hollywood, dazzled audiences with his boyish charm and knack for comedy. Known for roles in National Velvet and his Andy Hardy series, Rooney seemed like the epitome of wholesome entertainment. But off-screen, his behavior was far less endearing. Rooney reportedly turned auditions into casting couch nightmares, creating roles that mysteriously never made it to production. His inappropriate comments about co-stars, including young Elizabeth Taylor, showcased a darker, less innocent side. Rumors swirled about an alleged affair with Taylor when she was just 14, though Rooney himself was married at the time. Despite his on-screen innocence, colleagues described him as abrasive and egotistical, a far cry from the characters who charmed post-war America. Yet Rooney's influence on Hollywood remains undeniable, even if his legacy comes with a hefty dose of controversy. As much as audiences loved his talent, his behind-the-scenes antics left many rolling their eyes, when they weren't outright appalled. Number 7. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn wasn't just a Hollywood heartthrob, he was the swashbuckling embodiment of adventure. On screen, he was a dashing hero with a sword and a smile that could make audiences swoon. Off-screen, however, Flynn's life was a scandal-filled drama worthy of its own movie. In 1942, Flynn's escapades hit a new low when he was charged with statutory rape involving 2 underage girls, one incident reportedly taking place on his yacht. The media frenzy turned his trial into a Hollywood circus, and his defense hinged on his infamous charm. Against all odds, Flynn was acquitted, but his reputation was forever tainted. Despite his off-screen scandals, Flynn's on-screen charisma continued to captivate audiences. He was the ultimate Hollywood bad boy, living fast, dodging trouble, and wielding a sword both on and off-screen. His life was a mix of cinematic brilliance and personal chaos, a legacy as complicated as the man himself. Number 6. W.C. Fields. W.C. Fields didn't just play the grumpy, gin-loving curmudgeon on screen, he practically invented the role in real life. With his bulbous nose and biting wit, Fields turned human flaws into comedic gold, earning him a place among Hollywood's greatest comedians. But working with Fields wasn't a laugh riot. His temper was as legendary as his humor. If someone on set didn't match his standards, or dared question his ideas, Fields would let them have it with a verbal lashing sharp enough to cut steel. His disdain for children, sobriety, and general responsibility wasn't just an act, it was a lifestyle. Yet Fields had a rare gift. He made audiences laugh at the very traits they hated to admit they shared. His humor was raw, his persona irritable, but his influence on comedy was unmatched. While his off-screen antics could sour the mood, his on-screen brilliance kept audiences coming back for more. Number 5. Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen wasn't just the king of cool, he was also the king of chaos. His marriage to Neely Adams was a roller coaster ride fueled by drugs, infidelity, and bouts of paranoia. McQueen's charm on screen masked a darker reality off screen, as Adams painfully discovered one cocaine-fueled night. Trying to coax Adams into sharing his habit, McQueen whispered sweet nothings like, "A little coke will make you feel better, baby." Romantic, right? When she resisted, his paranoia skyrocketed. A teasing remark about a fictitious Academy Award-winning lover was all it took for McQueen to pull out a gun. With the barrel pressed to her temple, he snarled, "Tell me who it is, or you won't live to see him die." If that doesn't scream stable husband material, nothing does. McQueen's on-screen coolness was legendary, but his off-screen antics? Let's just say they'd never make it past the MPAA. What do you think? Number 4. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford's public persona was one of Hollywood glamour, a dazzling actress with decades of iconic performances. But behind the scenes, as her daughter Christina revealed in Mommy Dearest, Crawford's life was a chilling nightmare of abuse and cruelty. Christina's memoir painted Crawford as a tyrant who masked her sadistic tendencies with a veneer of maternal affection. In one harrowing memory, a 13-year-old Christina endured a violent assault, her head slammed to the floor as Crawford's rage erupted. "You could see it in her eyes. She wanted to kill me," Christina recalled, describing the terrifying dichotomy between her mother's public adoration and private torment. While Crawford's fame soared, winning her an Academy Award for Mildred Pierce, her children lived under a reign of terror fueled by perfectionism and alcoholism. Christina's book shattered Crawford's saintly Hollywood image, revealing a tragic, tyrannical figure whose legacy is forever tainted by her dark, abusive behavior. Number 3. Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball, the comedic queen who revolutionized television, wasn't just a star. She was the boss. On the set of Here's Lucy, Ball's strong-willed personality often clashed with co-stars, including Tony Randall during the 1971 episode Lucy and the Mountain Climber. Randall played a climber Lucy hilariously tried to outdo, but behind the scenes, Ball wasn't laughing. Randall later quipped, "She bossed everyone around and spared no feelings." Ball wasn't mean. She was just, well, terrifyingly efficient. Her perfectionism bordered on tyrannical, but Randall grudgingly admired her. "She was always right," he admitted, adding, "and if she wasn't, nobody dared tell her." Ball's assertiveness ensured every punchline landed, but it left many wondering if comedy was her second act after military boot camp. Still, her genius couldn't be denied. Whether climbing mountains or bulldozing egos, Lucy ruled Hollywood with an iron fist and made it all look hysterically funny. Number 2. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas's life was the stuff of Hollywood legend, an immigrant kid turned silver screen icon who championed justice by breaking the Hollywood blacklist. But his legacy, like a Hollywood blockbuster, has a controversial twist. Douglas's decision to hire blacklisted writer Dalton Trumbo for Spartacus earned him a spot in Hollywood's Freedom Fighter Hall of Fame. However, in the wake of his death, another narrative emerged, this one far less noble. Allegations circulated that in the 1950s, Douglas had assaulted a teenage Natalie Wood in a chilling encounter at the Chateau Marmont. Though unconfirmed, the rumors sparked heated debates on social media, transforming Douglas from a celebrated actor into a figure of posthumous scrutiny. Some critics branded him a predator, tarnishing his golden boy image. Douglas's cinematic legacy may include inspiring Spartans to freedom, but his personal reputation, let's just say it's been dragged through the Colosseum of public opinion. Swords drawn, no mercy. Number 1. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin, the king of silent comedy, had a personal life that was anything but funny. Behind the charm of the tramp was a man infamous for his obsession with youth and a penchant for much younger women. His first wife, at just 16, was nearly half his age. When his second wife became pregnant at 15, he married her to avoid legal trouble. The cycle continued, with Chaplin casting aside wives who couldn't provide heirs, all while chasing his own twisted version of eternal youth. By the time he married Una O'Neill, a teenager 36 years his junior, he seemed to perfect his formula. Young wife, big family, repeat. Una bore him 8 children, securing her place as the longest-lasting of his 4 wives. However, the glamour faded. Una's life was overshadowed by Chaplin's domineering nature, and she succumbed to alcoholism after his death. Chaplin's legacy as a cinematic genius remains untouchable, but his personal life is a darker, far less comedic tale. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.